This episode is sponsored by the Foreman School in Litchfield, Connecticut, a lovely town it is. A coeducational college prep school that empowers bright students who learn differently. And who would not want to learn differently? To learn more about the nation's first and best co-ed school for high school and postgraduate students with learning differences, go to formanschool.org. That's Forman school.org. Hello, and welcome to our podcast called Distraction. I'm your host, Dr. Ned Hallowell, and thank you for joining me and us for today's listener Q&A. I love these. Love these. Please send in your questions. Today's question, which one of you did indeed send in, regards a common struggle for those of us who have ADHD. Here's how the question goes. Dear Dr. Hallowell, I'm a junior in high school who is very active in and out of school. In fact, I'm pretty busy most days. I take meds to manage my ADHD and they do help. My problem is that even with my busy schedule, I have a hard time saying no when someone asks me to do something. My friend, a teacher, whoever. Even if I don't have the time, I'll put off doing my stuff so I can take care of theirs. Is this common with ADHD? How can I say no without hurting anyone's feelings? Well, yes, it is common, and thank you for the question. The headline is, you're a generous person, and that's great. So as problems go, generosity is a good one to have until it becomes a problem. In other words, you take a very positive trait, you're generous. And if you're generous with your time, you're probably generous with your money, with your affections, with your enthusiasms. You're probably a very enthusiastic person. In fact, the way you describe yourself, you are. But you can have too much of anything, and you can have too much generosity. So learning how to say no, and you ask, is it common in ADHD? It's very common. I'm still trying to learn. My default position is set to yes. What you want to do is reset your default position, not to no, but to let me think about that. That always buys you some time to think about it. And, nobody will take offense if you say, let me think about that. Or even if you just come right out and say no, but you don't say it bluntly. You don't say no. That's very off-putting. But if you say, honest to goodness, I just don't have the time, everyone can identify with that. And they'll take a lesson. They'll say, I wish I could learn to say that too. I'd love to join you. I'd love to the blah, 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 blah. But I just don't have time. Or I've got another commitment. Now, you don't say, are you kidding? You're the most boring person in the world. I would rather drop dead than join you. Obviously, you don't say that. But you can find ways of politely declining without hurting feelings whatsoever. And I suggest you actually rehearse it with yourself or with a friend. Rehearse polite ways of saying no, polite ways of saying not now, I'd love to do it another time, or honestly, I'm just not a sports fan, so, save those tickets for someone who is. You can say things that are honest but not offensive. And that's the trick. It's the art of diplomacy. It's something that we ADDers tend not to be so good at. We tend to just blurt out, are you kidding? I hate football. Or are you kidding? I hate that restaurant. Or, so don't do that. But try to learn polite, tactful ways of asserting the fact that your time is committed in another direction, even if it's just to veg out at home. You could even say, no, Tuesday tonight, this is my veg out night. And believe me, the other person will be so jealous. Where did you give yourself permission to do that? Have a veg out night? Yeah, I need it. I need time to recharge my batteries. And we do. We do need time to recharge our batteries, to veg out, to do nothing, to daydream, to reflect upon where we are in life, and it's not a bad thing to do. So thank you for your question, and good luck in developing the fine art of saying, let me get back to you about that, or can't do it this time, or I'm just too tied up, too busy. You fill in the blank. But there are many, many ways of not saying yes when, in fact, you want to say no. This is Dr. Ned Hallowell with this mini episode of Distraction on developing the art of turning down an opportunity. That's it for today. If you have a question you'd like me to answer, please send it to us at connect@distractionpodcast.com. That's the word connect at distractionpodcast.com. I'd like to thank the Foreman School in Litchfield, Connecticut, a wonderful school, for sponsoring this episode. Foreman, I've known Foreman, worked with Foreman for decades, and they really do understand kids, all kids, particularly kids who learn differently. They're a remarkable school where you get exactly the kind of individualized attention that you need. Distraction is created by Sounds Great Media. Our recording engineer and editor is the impeccable Scott Persson. He picks up every little sound. And our producer is the beautifully, wonderfully talented Sarah Guertin. I'm just good old Dr. Ned Hallowell. And thank you so much, as always, for listening. The episode you just heard was sponsored by the Foreman School in Litchfield, Connecticut, beautiful Litchfield. Foreman gives students who learn differently the resources to discover what they care about, to find success in a wide range of fields, and to just be themselves, not just their diagnosis. Learn more about the nation's first and best co-ed school for high school and postgraduate students with learning differences at formanschool.org. That's Forman school.org.